Hey guys, welcome back to another Unqualified Reviews, and today's episode is going to be different from the rest of them, because today we're not reviewing a radio, today we're reviewing my keyboard. Musical keyboard, not a computer keyboard. This is my Yamaha Reface CS synthesizer. This model was released, I think, around 2015 as part of the Reface family of keyboards. The Reface family, the TLDR version here, is kind of like the NES Classic in a way, because these things are designed to provide the functionality of older pieces of Yamaha equipment, or just older keyboard equipment in general, in a much more modern and small form factor that has less reliability issues. This model here, the Reface CS, capitalizes on subtractive synthesis, which was in use from the mid-1960s through to the late 1980s. And also a little bit of FM synthesis. Ah, great. Someone's freaking out the dog. I'm not Khalifa. It's okay, boy. The Reface DX. I kind of want to own all of these models. The Reface DX capitalizes on the Yamaha DX7, which came out in 1983, and it was a 6-operator FM synth that was used for all kinds of things throughout the 1980s. I'm just splicing a couple of examples here. So it's an absolute classic. The Reface CP capitalizes on electric pianos, and even has a hidden acoustic piano sound. But it capitalizes on electric pianos and the Yamaha, and it can do a lot of things like the CP80 can. This thing here is closest to the CS80, I think, and the Reface YC capitalizes on organ sound. It's able to replicate a ton of older organ sounds. You can get everything from a classic B3 sound out of it on up to... like, that thing's organ is so good, you could probably, if you had an external MIDI controller, you could probably do a full-on cover of Green-Eyed Lady. With the organ part, including the solo, if you're fast enough. So this is the one I wanted to get first. This is the Reface CS. It's fairly small. It might not look that small to you, but just look at my fingers on this thing. Play well just one hand, but these are very small keys. But they're large enough to still be usable. This unit has 37 of these mini keys, ranging from, you see down here, up to see up here. However, this unit does have an octave slider here, so you can get everything from these low notes and you can jack up to where you get the really high notes that no one should ever use, but you can get and the dog goes back. He's a good boy. So this unit is built largely out of plastic, although this piece here, up here is, I'm quite sure, is actually metal. These plastic sliders, they can pop off if you need them to, but you shouldn't need to. I'm actually thinking about modding this keyboard this summer, extracting the key mechanism, and I don't know what I'd do in order to change the color of the keys. Probably just dye or paint or something. I'd have to find something that's kind of resilient so it wouldn't just flake off. I'd kind of like to go for the Baroque-esque piano look, which I think would make this thing look super cool. Pretty much just swapping the colors out. So these keys would be white, and then these would be black. I think that'll make it look super cool. On the back of the keyboard here, you have your power socket, power switch. This is a pedal socket, which on here is used for muting the keyboard or adjusting the volume if you have an analog controller. I'd imagine on the DX, the CP and the YZ would be used for sustain. Here you have your left and right audio outputs, a headphone socket, and auxiliary inputs. You can get audio into the keyboard from a phone or something to play along, or from something like a MIDI engine. Over here, yeah, I know it's dark in here, but over here you have your little mini DIN socket, which the keyboard comes with this breakout cable here. Tries to get your full-on MIDI connectors. And it literally just plugs into this port. And now you have your MIDI jacks. Just hang out of the back of your keyboard. And you also have a USB-B type socket here, which would be useful for connecting up to a computer. And over here, I believe this is a Kensington lock slot, so no one can steal your Reface from your desk. On the bottom of it here, you just have your battery compartment, which pops open to reveal the battery compartment. What else did you expect? You can run this unit. Like I said, the lighting is poor in here because I'm photophobic. But you can run off of 6 AA batteries here, which is pretty nice. And you can see these are some slits cut here, which I think might actually be porting the speakers, because if you play loud enough, there's audio on it there, and you can actually feel some vibrations coming out of those ports. On the top surface of the keyboard here, you have this giant bank of slider controls. I'll explain to you what each one of these does. This right here is your centering pitch bender, which allows you to do pitch bends, of course. But it actually goes for a whole octave. Which is pretty cool, and if you hold down a certain key as you're turning the keyboard on, it'll actually invert the way that works, because Yamaha sells a keytar strap bracket for this. So you can dance around with this thing on stage, and apparently on keytars, the pitch bend would be reversed from the way it is here. This is your volume slider. Work as you'd expect. Here's a 5-position notched slider, which adjusts your octave. I tend to set it at -1. So I get just not low notes, but okay. it any lower than that, then I have to play my chords up here. Can't really hear those the best of these speakers, but as you heard there, I couldn't even play my G because the highest note here is a C, and of course a G needs G, B, and D. And yes, I guess I could technically play it. Awkward to make those jumps though. But anyways, here you have these two sliders here control your looper. We'll get back to those. And these two sliders right here. Well, this selects your LFO modes. You can do like low frequency oscillation, low frequency modulation, and pseudo vibrato to an extreme. And these sliders here are just your speed and your depth. I'll give you a quick little demo of that. I'll just put the phone down here. Low frequency. Well, let's have the next position up. Is it? Get some weird effect of that. This next slider right here selects keyboard mode. This is polyphonic, so it can play up to 8 notes at a time. Watch you later, 8-bit. Next position up is just a standard monophonic mode. This allows only one key to be pressed at a time, but it's also very quick synth trills. You can also apply varying levels of portamento, which that's that kind of glide-esque thing between the notes. Then get up to this. Synth revs. This slider here adjusts your basic waveform, and these two here texture modulation, which for FM also act as your sliders for operators 1 and 2. What the waveform selector lets you do is choose between your 5 basic waveform types on this keyboard. Just put the phone down. You'll still be able to hear me. So firstly, you have your sawtooth wave, as you've been hearing. This waveform is commonly used for some cool synth stuff. Notice it wasn't really used that much in that, but this type of waveform was used in a bunch of really cool synth stuff. You have your pulse waveform. You can adjust your texture and modulation, which the texture just adds in the extra octave or really an interval. There I have the interval tuned to a major fifth, so instead of one note. This, however, can sound kind of bad whenever you're messing with chords. It can also be kind of cool, particularly with sus chords. Modulation just allows you to, well, modulate the sound. You also have the multi-saw waveform, which starts off with a basic sawtooth wave. Ooh, that A7. But whenever you start messing around with the texture modulation, that's where things get weird. Ooh, things start really getting trippy whenever you start messing around with the... Whenever you start really messing around with that ADSR via the attack. Next up is ring modulator, which can also get you some really trippy stuff, but also some cool stuff. Also, we're going to get to the DX electric bass out of this. But when I said start getting the weird stuff out of it is when I started messing around with the texture and modulation. I always send to drivers, but they can actually mess around. That's the texture jagged about halfway up. When I start messing around with the modulation. So here I've actually managed to flatten the keyboard. Wait, no. I've actually managed to sharpen the keyboard by a half step. Because here I'm playing a B major chord, and it sounds just like a C major. Actually detune it. You get some cool detuned basses, or sorry, like mistuned bass out of this. And the last waveform you have is FM synthesis. You start off with this basic fucking sawtooth wave. But once you mess with your texture and modulation settings, are now the operators 1 and 2. Was my sound operator 2. past these controls, you have your cutoff. Which the cutoff simply just controls at what point. Pretty much it's a treble cap. So I pull the slider down, it lowers that treble. Next is you have a couple of effect sliders. I don't know exactly what they're called, but you guys notice what these do whenever you start messing with the attack. Because the first one. Pretty much it'll introduce a high frequency tone, and the second slider will make that tone just into a little bit of a slope. And of course you have your attack, decay, sustain, and release sliders, your ADSR envelope. Your attack pretty much determines the fade-in length of the sound. It goes all the way up to this. Decay sliders determines how much decay the sound has. The sustain determines at what level, pretty much after the sound decays, it determines at what point it stops decaying and just remains steady. So, so you can hear the sound still going there. And let's see if you release, which pretty much just adds an echo effect to the sound. And if you set it up all the way, the sound just never ends until you run out of polyphonic notes. And next up, you have your effect position slider and your speed and depth of the effects. The effects you have are a delay, which of course does this. You set as slow as this. Oops. To as fast as this. set the depth of the effect as low as this. And if you set the depth up all the way, you'll actually get a little bit of feedback. Also, an odd quirk with this is the speeds I will actually adjust, not only the speed but also the pitch of your sound. So I'm going to just hit this E flat sus4. You have this phase / flange effect. I don't really know best to describe it. That's the highest depth, so more middle of the road depth. And if you adjust the speed of it, Wet Wonder. Then you have this effect. I don't know how best to describe it. I don't know what it's called actually. And it's kind of cool if you're listening on the keyboard. That's with built-in speakers, which are sitting off to my left here, but they kind of adds a little bit of stereo depth to the sound. That's what the depth just slightly increases a bit. And you can even do distortion, which I'm going to turn the keyboard down for this. Now let me just quickly give you a demo of the looper. Now the looper is a little odd because sometimes it's a little pinging noise, which is trying to use a click. Sometimes it'll actually sound like the waveform you're using. Sometimes it will be like this. Sometimes it'll be like, and actually changes you mess around with it. Just random as to what it seems to want to do that day. And for the way it works is this looper slider has 5 positions: off, record, play, pause, and stop. And next to it you have your speed slider, which is just the speed of it. From that. And there's a little light that'll flash with it. I'm gonna record a little bit of a composition I made. over there from record to play once I'm done. It'll start right back in the beginning. You're essentially playing with a click track there, which I'm notoriously horrible at. But once you put it back into play, you can mess with your sound because it's pretty much just saving as MIDI data. And if you were to move the slider back into record, you can overdub things, so I'll just overdub just some nonsense. And if I play it back... darn it. It just played that back, and it proved to you that the sound changes as you change the sound. Now, let me just overdub the melody here. You don't want to play melody on this round sliders. Save that. Damn it. And then the chords will work, but... cool trick of this keyboard, and the next where I'll shut up, is if you plug the MIDI adapter into the back. Having fun over there, Khalifa? If you plug the MIDI adapter into the back, which this thing will actually send the looper stuff with the exception of that ping noise whenever it's using the actual keyboard, so it'd be like keys. But anyways, plug the MIDI adapter. So yeah, it'll send all the looper stuff over USB MIDI or it's regular MIDI. If you plug the MIDI adapter in the back, and you plug a MIDI cable into both ends, so you're plugging the in into the out. You lose half of your polyphony, and this won't work in monophonic mode because of what it's doing. But it makes the keyboard sound pretty cool. Just hear it on Sawtooth. This is with all the effects off. But who the only has 4 polyphony? 2, 3, 4. That C drops off at the 5th note. Whereas if I unplug one into the MIDI adapter, dropped off when we hit that 9th note, which is that G there, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. However, what it's doing here is it's kind of causing the keyboard to kind of almost instant double track itself. It's just it's offset by like a nanosecond or something. However long it takes the signals to travel through the cable and get processed by the keyboard.
What's up, Nader?
Making a video, so fuck you. How you doing, Lucas? In truth.
Huh?
In truth, how you doing, man?
Decent, work was rough, man. It was a rough day today. I don't know why not. It's just tiring. Like, usually I don't get tired, so I don't mind it. But today I was wore out, man.
Sorry, man.
No, it was good. I made money. I don't get paid till tomorrow, and it's a check, so I can't cash it till Monday, which sucks.
At least you're getting money from it, though.
Yeah, I really hope I get that job at Burger King. Because, my goal, huh?
The only one to ever say that.
Because my goal, I want to work, 3 10-hour shifts a week. Because I want to work every day. And if I can do that, I'm still making good money on each. I'm making, 400, 500, 400 bucks on a check, you know what I mean? 300 bucks on a check. I'm running up this thing to Bubs. I'll be right back.
What is this thing?
Propane tank.
Cocaine tank. Because here's, without this cool trick, and now with that, it's going to cause problems, so because I'm hitting 5 notes at a time there. Put it back in. That top note, or one of the 3rd or something, whatever the first note I hit is, tends to drop off if it's slightly there, but you can also have some other issues like inconsistent volume on some notes. Like let's try to see here if I can get it to up here. You have fun with the cocaine tank?
Forgot the keys somewhere. I'm assuming on the dining room table.
It can cause issues, and plus it causes the looper to fuck itself up the ass. Let me just record just a quick phrase here. Just plug this in and you'll hear what it does. If I were to record something with this cable in, doesn't play back right either. And that's not me doing that, and if I unplug the cable, it gets even better. I have created the best noise ever. So yeah, so that's you can get some cool sounds out of it if you plug the keyboard into itself through MIDI, but you know, that's beside the point. So, you can find also, yeah, I just realized, like, remember I said at the beginning I was going to splice in a couple of clips of the DX7. I don't want to get in trouble with copyright again, so I don't think I will actually. But so pretty much anything from the 1980s from Chicago, or Genesis. Smooth Criminal was a good example of the electric bass sound, as well as Danger Zone from Kenny Loggins. Just look up Yamaha DX7 in music, in 1980s music or something, and come across a ton of things. Because I don't want to get in trouble with copyright, and I just want to post this and go back to sleep. You know, it's like 4 in the afternoon or something. So anyways, though, this keyboard tends to sell in month around $280 to $300. Would I recommend you get one? Absolutely. It's more powerful than a CS series keyboard. It's smaller, much more obtainable both physically and financially than a CS80. Because it's not the size of a grand piano or something. It's really easy to work with, and you can take it with you places. Not to mention it works as a pretty good little 37-key MIDI controller. You can connect it to your computer through USB or to another device through MIDI. Which I kind of want to see how well this thing would work with a Roland MT32, because I think the two would work great together. But the problem is, all of the cool synth people out there seem to have bought up every single example of the Roland MT32, or they've just pretty much, since geeks have started caring about stuff, the MT32, which has become radically unobtainable. I mean, they're easily going for a good, like, $300, $400, $500 online. And I know they were like $700, $800 originally in the 1980s, so that's for like $1,200, $1,500 now. But I mean, still, a used piece of hardware, even if it's that good, shouldn't really be costing that much. But also, yeah, the case I'm using for this thing is one that I bought on Amazon from Analog Cases. Specifically designed for the Reface series. Got a dedicated spot for the keyboard. It's a little fold-out thing that can protect the sliders or the screen on the DX or whatever. And it's got dedicated spots for the AC adapter and a foot pedal. And it's not that much better than a laptop case. It's a really nice case. But anyways, thank y'all for watching and have a great day. Okay, longest episode I've ever made of Unqualified reviews yet.